Captain Marcus Donovan stood at the observation deck of the USS Hyperion, Earth's most closely guarded secret. Through the reinforced viewport, he watched the massive Caldraxian vessel enter Earth's orbit, its crystalline surface reflecting sunlight like an artificial star. The ship's design spoke of technological superiority, sleek, seamless, and utterly alien. "Engineering reports all systems nominal, Captain," Lieutenant Rajesh Patel's voice came through the comm system. "Quantum stealth systems are holding steady. We're completely invisible to their sensors." The Hyperion represented humanity's greatest technological achievement, a warship built around revolutionary electromagnetic weapons systems that most of the world didn't even know existed. Only 300 people on Earth knew of its existence, and even fewer knew its true capabilities. "Status of the rail capacitors?" Donovan asked, his eyes never leaving the alien vessel. "Charged and ready, sir," responded Lieutenant Hannah Morrison from the weapons station. "The Mark VII railgun is primed, though I still can't believe we're hiding a ship that could reduce a small mountain to dust." Donovan understood her sentiment. The Hyperion's main weapon could accelerate projectiles to velocities that seemed to defy physics itself. But for now, their orders were clear: observe and remain hidden, while Earth's diplomatic team handled first contact. "Captain, incoming transmission from General Richardson," announced Communications Officer Jun Wei. The general's stern face appeared on the main display. "Status report, Captain Donovan." "Maintaining position and stealth protocols, sir. The Caldraxians haven't detected our presence. Their vessel matches the specifications from their initial transmission, approximately 2.8 kilometers in length." "Good, keep monitoring, but do not engage unless absolutely necessary. The diplomatic team is about to begin their first face-to-face meeting." Over the next several hours, Donovan and his crew watched as humanity's first official contact with an alien civilization unfolded. The Caldraxians presented themselves as representatives of an advanced spacefaring empire, offering technological wonders that would revolutionize human society: clean energy, advanced medical technology, faster-than-light travel. "They're being awfully generous," mused Dr. Victoria Russell, the ship's chief science officer, as she reviewed the diplomatic feeds. "Advanced civilizations don't usually hand over their technological advantages without expecting something significant in return." "Agreed," Donovan replied. "What's your analysis of their tech so far?" Russell pulled up several holographic displays showing sensor readings of the Caldraxian vessel. "Their energy generation capabilities are beyond anything we've seen. Their hull is covered in some kind of crystalline matrix that appears to channel and redirect energy. They're clearly centuries ahead of us in many areas." "But," Donovan prompted, hearing the hesitation in her voice, "but they seem to have completely abandoned certain technological paths we've pursued. Their defensive systems are entirely energy-based, sophisticated shields designed to deflect plasma, lasers, and particle beams. I haven't detected any significant kinetic barrier systems." Before Donovan could respond, Lieutenant Morrison called out from her station. "Captain, multiple small craft deploying from the Caldraxian vessel's ventral surface. They're staying in the sensor shadow of their main ship, outside the view of Earth's official monitoring stations." "Track them, passive sensors only," Donovan ordered. "Where are they headed?" "Descending into atmosphere. Trajectories suggest they're heading toward our major mineral deposits and resource centers." Morrison's fingers flew across her console. "They're scanning, sir. Deep penetration scans of the crust." Over the next week, the Hyperion's crew documented dozens of covert Caldraxian survey missions. They were methodically mapping Earth's resources, while their diplomats continued to offer technological gifts in exchange for what they called minimal access to Earth's natural materials. The breakthrough came when Dr. Russell managed to decrypt part of the Caldraxians' internal communications. The alien language filtered through their translation matrix. "Primitive species, resource extraction protocols, minimal resistance expected. Their weapons cannot penetrate our defensive matrices." Donovan's jaw tightened as he listened to the transmission. They're not here to help us. They're assessing us for conquest. Should we inform General Richardson? Morrison asked. Not yet. We need more concrete evidence of their intentions. Donovan studied the tactical display showing the Caldraxian vessel, and we need to understand exactly what we're dealing with. That opportunity arrived 3 days later when one of the alien survey ships experienced a malfunction, forcing it to make an emergency landing in a remote area of the Indian Ocean. The Caldraxians hadn't requested assistance, likely hoping to retrieve their craft before it was discovered. Plot an intercept course, Donovan ordered. Let's get a closer look at their technology. The Hyperion descended through the atmosphere, its quantum stealth systems rendering it completely invisible to both Earth and Caldraxian sensors. They found the damaged alien craft floating on the ocean's surface, its crew conducting repairs. Passive scans only, Donovan instructed. Record everything. For 5 hours, they observed and gathered data. Dr. Russell's initial assessment was confirmed. The Caldraxians' defensive systems were exclusively energy-based, with minimal protection against physical impacts. Their entire civilization has evolved beyond kinetic weapons, Russell explained, examining the sensor data. They've forgotten one of the most basic laws of physics. You can't stop momentum with an energy field. Donovan smiled grimly. And that's exactly why they don't consider us a threat. They've advanced so far that they've developed a blind spot. He turned to communications. Contact General Richardson, Priority 1 channel. In the secure briefing room at United Earth Defense Command, Donovan presented their findings to Earth's military leadership. The evidence was clear. The Caldraxians were planning to strip Earth of its resources, considering humanity too primitive to pose any real resistance. Their technological advantage is significant, Donovan concluded, but not insurmountable. Their entire defensive doctrine is built around stopping energy weapons, lasers, plasma, particle beams. But they have minimal protection against physical projectiles, especially those moving at relativistic speeds. The Hyperion's railgun, General Richardson leaned forward. How confident are you in its effectiveness against their shields? Very confident, sir. At maximum velocity, our tungsten projectiles will be moving at 8% of light speed. No energy shield can stop that kind of kinetic impact. It would be like trying to stop a meteor with a force field. The general studied the tactical displays for a long moment. We need to demonstrate our capabilities without starting a war. Captain Donovan, I'm authorizing Operation Swift Thunder. Let's show our visitors that humanity isn't as helpless as they believe. The Caldraxian military attaché, Commander Zelvax, stood in the observation chamber of their flagship, watching Earth's impressive display of military might with barely concealed amusement. Below, squadrons of human fighter jets performed precision maneuvers while warships demonstrated their most advanced weapon systems. Quite remarkable what they've achieved with such primitive technology, Zelvax commented to his subordinate. Their mastery of chemical propulsion is almost artistic in a quaint way. In the chamber with them, Captain Marcus Donovan maintained his diplomatic smile while his fingers discreetly tapped mission updates into his neural link. The Hyperion, still cloaked and hidden in high orbit, was positioning itself for the next phase of Operation Swift Thunder. Tell me, Captain Donovan, Zelvax turned to him, how do your vessels handle the dangers of space debris? Surely your conventional armor cannot withstand impacts at orbital velocities. We manage, Donovan replied carefully, though I'd be very interested in learning how your ships handle such threats. Zelvax waved dismissively. Simple energy matrices deflect any material objects. It's basic technology, really, though I suppose it would seem quite advanced from your perspective. Dr. Victoria Russell's voice came through Donovan's neural link. Captain, we've completed our analysis of their shield harmonics. You won't believe what we found. Excuse me, Donovan nodded to the Caldraxians. I need to check on the next phase of our demonstration. In the secure briefing room aboard the Hyperion, Dr. Russell displayed a holographic model of the Caldraxian shield system. Their overconfidence is their weakness, she explained. Their shields are incredibly sophisticated at deflecting energy weapons, but they treat kinetic impacts as an afterthought. They use a simple repulsion field that's only effective against objects moving at relatively low velocities. Lieutenant Morrison studied the data, so their ships are practically defenseless against our railgun. Not defenseless, Russell corrected, but they've optimized their entire defensive system around stopping the wrong type of attack. It's like they've built the perfect umbrella while completely forgetting about arrows. "What's the status of the test target?" Donovan asked. "In position, sir," Morrison replied. "We've placed the asteroid exactly where you specified, far enough from Earth to avoid any debris, but close enough for the Caldraxians to observe." Donovan nodded. Time to show Commander Zelvax what primitive technology can do. Back in the observation chamber, the human military demonstration was concluding. Zelvax was preparing his formal assessment for the Caldraxian High Command. Earth's defenses were negligible, their technology centuries behind. Resource extraction could begin within months. "Commander Zelvax," Donovan interrupted his thoughts. "We've prepared one final demonstration if you're interested, something a bit more substantial." The Caldraxian commander sighed indulgently. "Of course, Captain, though I must say we've seen quite enough chemical explosions for one day." "Oh, this is something completely different," Donovan smiled. "If you'll direct your attention to the main display." The screen showed a small asteroid roughly 100 meters across, drifting in space. "That object is approximately 500,000 kilometers from Earth," Donovan explained. "We'd like to demonstrate our long-range defensive capabilities." Zelvax looked bored. "Captain, even our civilian ships could easily deflect such a small body, though I suppose for your level of technology it presents quite a challenge." "Actually," Donovan's smile widened slightly, "we're not going to deflect it. We're going to destroy it. Lieutenant Morrison, you may fire when ready." Aboard the Hyperion, Morrison's hands flew across her weapons console. "Railgun charged to maximum capacity, target locked, firing solution computed." She took a deep breath. "Firing." The Hyperion's main railgun activated, electromagnetic fields accelerating a 20-kilogram tungsten rod to velocities that approached a fraction of light speed. The weapon fired silently in the vacuum of space, no flash or beam revealing the ship's position. In the observation chamber, Zelvax was about to make another condescending remark when the asteroid suddenly exploded. Not a simple breaking apart, but a complete and catastrophic disintegration. The kinetic energy of the projectile converted instantly to heat and light, turning the entire asteroid into expanding plasma. For the first time, the Caldraxian commander's smug expression faltered. That's not possible. Your weapons are based on chemical propulsion. Nothing in your technological database suggests." "Oh, did we forget to mention our advances in electromagnetic acceleration?" Donovan asked innocently. "An oversight, I'm sure, just like how you forgot to mention your ship scanning our planet's resources without permission." Zelvax's skin paled to an ashen gray. You knew about that?" "We know quite a lot, Commander, including the fact that your ship's amazing energy shields have one rather significant weakness." Donovan stepped closer, his voice low. "They're designed to stop energy weapons, but you've forgotten the simple physics of momentum. No energy field can stop a solid object moving at relativistic speeds. It's a blind spot your people developed over centuries of fighting only advanced civilizations." "Are you threatening us, Captain?" Zelvax's voice carried a dangerous edge. "Not at all. I'm simply ensuring there are no misunderstandings between our peoples. We value peaceful cooperation, but we're not as defenseless as you might have assumed." The Caldraxian commander stared at the debris field that had once been an asteroid, his tactical mind racing. Their initial assessment of Earth's capabilities had been catastrophically wrong. These humans had somehow developed weapons that could bypass their most sophisticated defenses. "I will need to update my report to the High Command," Zelvax said stiffly. "Please do," Donovan replied. "Oh, and Commander, you might want to mention that the weapon we demonstrated was one of our smaller models. just to ensure complete clarity in our diplomatic relations. After the Caldraxians departed, General Richardson contacted the Hyperion. "Well played, Captain. Their ships are already pulling back to a higher orbit, but this is just the beginning." "Agreed, sir." Donovan watched the tactical display showing the Caldraxian vessels adjusting their positions. "They won't underestimate us again. The question is, what will they do now that they know we can hurt them?" "Be ready for anything, Captain. The Caldraxians didn't cross hundreds of light years just to turn back at the first sign of resistance. If they can't take what they want through intimidation, they'll try to take it by force," Donovan finished. "And next time they won't be so careless about their defenses." As if in confirmation, new energy signatures began emanating from the Caldraxian ships. They were powering up weapons that had remained dormant during the diplomatic mission. The true test of humanity's resolve was about to begin. The Caldraxian High Command's response arrived 3 days later. Their massive flagship, nearly twice the size of their diplomatic vessel, emerged from hyperspace with an escort fleet of 12 warships. The message was clear. They were done playing diplomatic games. "Multiple energy signatures detected," Lieutenant Morrison reported from her station on the Hyperion. "They're not even trying to hide their weapons anymore." Captain Donovan studied the tactical display, watching the Caldraxian fleet arrange itself in an attack formation high above Earth. Their ship's crystalline surfaces now pulsed with barely contained power, energy weapons charged and ready. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies," Communications Officer Wei announced. "It's Grand Admiral Zexkar himself." The alien commander's hologram materialized on the bridge, his scaled features set in an expression of cold fury. "People of Earth, your recent display of unexpected capabilities has been noted. However, do not mistake our previous diplomatic approach for weakness. The Caldraxian Empire does not tolerate deception or military posturing from primitive species." Dr. Russell's voice came through Donovan's neural link. "Captain, their energy readings are off the charts. Those aren't just warships, they're planet crackers. One ship could level a continent." "You have 24 of your hours to surrender control of your resource management to Caldraxian oversight," Zexkar continued. "Failure to comply will result in immediate pacification. Choose wisely." The transmission cut off, leaving the bridge in tense silence. General Richardson's face appeared on a secure channel moments later. "Captain Donovan, the Security Council is meeting now, but we all know where this is heading. Implement Contingency Protocol Omega." "Understood, sir." Donovan turned to his crew. "This is what we've prepared for. Begin emergency deployment of the fleet." Across the globe, hidden facilities activated. The Hyperion wasn't alone. She was the prototype for an entire class of ships humanity had built in secret. In underground bases and underwater hangars, 11 other vessels powered up their systems, each armed with advanced railgun technology. "All Hyperion-class vessels reporting ready," Wei confirmed. "The Artemis, Helios, and Orion are taking up flanking positions. The others are maintaining stealth protocols as planned." The next 20 hours were a deadly game of cat and mouse. The Caldraxians, now aware of humanity's railgun capabilities, had modified their shields, but they still didn't know about the other ships or the full extent of Earth's preparations. "Their new shield configuration is interesting," Dr. Russell noted, analyzing the sensor data. "They've layered their energy fields, trying to create a cushioning effect against kinetic impacts. It might actually work against conventional weapons." "But not against relativistic velocities," Donovan finished. "They still don't understand what they're dealing with. Morrison, what's the status of the Mark VIII? "Charged and ready, sir. All simulations show the new penetrator design will perform as expected." The deadline was approaching when the Caldraxians made their first move. Their ships began systematically targeting Earth's visible military installations, firing warning shots that vaporized empty buildings and runways. "They're demonstrating their power," Donovan observed. "Trying to force our surrender without actually starting a war. Classic Empire tactics." "Sir," Morrison called out, "they're launching fighters, hundreds of them." The alien craft swarmed out of their carriers, their energy weapons creating a web of deadly power around the larger ships. It was an impressive display of force, designed to demonstrate the futility of resistance. That's when Donovan gave the order they'd been waiting for. All ships, execute Operation Broken Shield, fire on designated targets full spread. Across Earth orbit, the hidden human fleet revealed itself. 12 ships appearing seemingly from nowhere, their railguns already charged and targeted. The Caldraxians had only moments to register the threat before the attack began. The electromagnetic weapons fired in perfect synchronization. Tungsten rods, accelerated to velocities that defied conventional physics, crossed the space between the fleets in milliseconds. The Caldraxians' layered shields, designed to handle mere hypersonic projectiles, might as well have been tissue paper. The first volley struck 3 of their escort ships. The kinetic energy transferred instantly, converting the ship's hull material into plasma. Secondary explosions chain-reacted through their power systems. In seconds, the mighty warships were reduced to expanding clouds of debris. "Direct hits," Morrison reported, her voice steady despite the destruction they'd just unleashed. "Enemy fleet is responding, energy weapons charging." The space around Earth lit up with alien weapon fire. Beams of concentrated plasma and exotic particles crisscrossed the void, searching for the human ships. But the Hyperion and her sisters were already moving, their quantum stealth systems making them nearly impossible to target. "Second volley, fire when ready," Donovan ordered. "Focus on their fighter support." Another synchronized attack. This time, the railguns fired special canister rounds that burst into clouds of hypervelocity fragments. The Caldraxian fighters, their shields optimized for energy weapons, were torn apart by thousands of tiny impacts moving at relativistic speeds. On the main display, they could see Grand Admiral Zexkar's flagship attempting to coordinate its surviving forces. The mighty vessel's shields blazed with power as it tried to track the human ships. "Sir," Wei called out, "we're receiving a transmission from their flagship. They're requesting a ceasefire." Donovan allowed himself a grim smile. "Put them through." Zexkar's hologram appeared again, but the arrogance was gone from his features. "Captain Donovan, it seems we significantly underestimated your species' capabilities." "A common mistake," Donovan replied coldly. "One that's cost you 4 ships and most of your fighter complement. Are you ready to discuss more favorable diplomatic terms?" The alien commander's scales rippled with barely controlled emotion. "You must understand, no primitive species has ever. This technology should not be possible at your development stage." "Perhaps it's time to reconsider your definition of primitive, Admiral. We may not have mastered energy shields or faster-than-light travel, but humanity has a long history of finding innovative solutions to seemingly impossible problems." A new alarm sounded from Morrison's station. "Captain, the remaining Caldraxian escorts are powering up their main weapons. Energy signatures suggest they're preparing to target Earth's surface." "A demonstration of their own," Donovan muttered. He turned back to Zexkar's hologram. "Call off your ships, Admiral, now, or the next volley won't be a warning shot." The standoff had reached its breaking point. Earth's future would be decided in the next few moments, balanced on the edge of a relativistic railgun round. Grand Admiral Zexkar's expression hardened as his remaining ships prepared to fire on Earth. "You leave me no choice, Captain Donovan. If we cannot have this world's resources, we will ensure no one else can either." "Lieutenant Morrison," Donovan's voice was eerily calm. "Target their flagship's primary power core, full charge, maximum velocity." "Target locked," Morrison responded, her fingers hovering over the firing controls. "You should know, Admiral," Donovan addressed the hologram, "that we've spent the last week analyzing your ship designs. We know exactly where to hit to trigger a cascade failure in your antimatter containment systems. The explosion would take out half your fleet." The bridge fell silent as the two commanders stared each other down. In the distance, the Caldraxian escort ship's weapons continued powering up, their crystalline hulls pulsing with deadly energy. You're bluffing, Zexkar said, but there was a note of uncertainty in his voice. Am I? Donovan nodded to Dr. Russell. Doctor, please show the Admiral our tactical analysis. Russell transmitted a detailed schematic of the Caldraxian flagship, with its power distribution network clearly mapped. Key vulnerabilities were highlighted, including the exact coordinates of the antimatter containment chambers. Impossible, Zexkar whispered. How did you? We've been studying your technology since you arrived, Russell explained. Your ship's energy emissions tell us everything about their internal structure. It's basic physics, something your people seem to have forgotten in their rush to develop ever more advanced energy weapons. Sir, Communications Officer Way interrupted. Message from the Artemis. They've detected power spikes in the escort ships. They're about to fire. Last chance, Admiral. Donovan's finger hovered over the command interface. Stand down your forces, or we'll be forced to demonstrate just how accurate our targeting systems are. The seconds stretched like hours. On the tactical display, energy readings from the Caldraxian escorts reached critical levels. One wrong move, one miscalculation, and Earth's surface would be scarred by plasma fire. Then, surprisingly, Zexkar laughed. It was a strange, almost musical sound. Do you know, Captain, in 10,000 years of Caldraxian expansion, no species has ever forced us to retreat. We've conquered civilizations that had mastered dimensional engineering, beings that could manipulate the fabric of space-time itself. He shook his head. And here we are, outmaneuvered by a primitive species using what we considered obsolete technology. Sometimes the old ways are the best ways, Donovan replied. What's your decision, Admiral? Zexkar gave a command in his native language. Slowly, the energy signatures from the escort ships began to fade. Stand down all weapons, the Admiral ordered. Open a channel to your planetary leadership. It seems we need to renegotiate our terms. The tension on the bridge eased slightly, but Donovan kept the weapons locked on target. He'd learned not to underestimate Caldraxian pride. General Richardson is standing by, but first, I want your fleet to pull back beyond lunar orbit. You're in no position to make demands, Zexkar protested. We still have superior numbers. Numbers mean nothing when a single shot can destroy your most powerful ship. Pull back, Admiral. Show us that the Caldraxian Empire can be reasonable when the situation requires it. After a moment's hesitation, Zexkar gave the order. The surviving Caldraxian ships began moving away from Earth, their fighters returning to their hangars. A wise decision, Donovan said. Now about those negotiations. Yes, Zexkar's expression was unreadable. But tell me, Captain, what made you develop these weapons in the first place? Surely your scientists must have been tempted by energy-based technology. We did develop energy weapons, Russell interjected. But we never abandoned kinetic technology. Humanity has learned the hard way not to put all our eggs in one basket. Eggs in, I don't understand the reference. It means we've learned to be adaptable, Donovan explained. Every time humanity has faced extinction, we've survived by using whatever tools were available. We never had the luxury of focusing on a single path of technological development. Fascinating, Zexkar mused. Perhaps there are things the Empire could learn from Earth after all, assuming, of course, we can move past this unfortunate misunderstanding. That depends entirely on your next moves, Admiral. We're willing to establish diplomatic relations, maybe even trade agreements. But it has to be a relationship of equals. Before Zexkar could respond, new alarms blared across the bridge. Multiple hyperspace signatures detected, Morrison called out. Large fleet incoming. The space around Earth lit up as dozens of ships emerged from hyperspace. But these weren't Caldraxian vessels. Their design was completely different, organic curves replacing crystalline angles. The Meridian Confederation, Zexkar growled. They must have detected our weapons' fire. Those vultures always appear when they smell weakness. Donovan studied the tactical display as more ships continued to arrive. The new fleet was positioning itself between Earth and the Caldraxian forces, their own weapons powered up and ready. Well, Admiral, Donovan said, It seems we have a choice to make. We can either continue our diplomatic discussions, or we can all find out how our different combat technologies match up against each other. The bridge crew held their breath, watching as the complex dance of interstellar politics played out before them. Earth's first major conflict with an alien power was about to either end in peace or escalate into something far more dangerous. And in the background, quietly, Lieutenant Morrison's fingers remained steady on the railgun controls, ready to demonstrate once again that humanity's primitive technology was anything but obsolete. The Meridian Confederation's flagship dwarfed even the Caldraxian vessels, its bioorganic hull rippling with patterns of bioluminescence. On the Hyperion's main display, their ambassador's image materialized, a being that seemed to be composed of flowing liquid crystal. "We are the Meridian Collective," the ambassador's thoughts translated directly into comprehensible speech. "We witnessed the exchange between your forces, most interesting." Captain Donovan glanced at the tactical display, where Morrison had already locked weapons on key vulnerabilities in both fleets. The Hyperion and her sister ships maintained their positions, a deadly dance of gravitational physics keeping them perfectly aligned for maximum effect. "Welcome to Earth space," Donovan replied diplomatically, "though your timing seems rather convenient." The liquid crystal form shifted, creating patterns that Dr. Russell's xenobiology training suggested indicated amusement. "We have been watching your sector for some time. The Caldraxian Empire's expansion methods are well known to us, as are the Meridian Confederation's own colonial ambitions," Grand Admiral Zexkar interjected, his scaled features tight with barely contained rage. "You're not here out of concern for Earth." "Perhaps not," the Meridian ambassador agreed. "But we are interested in any species that can force the mighty Caldraxian Empire to withdraw. Your electromagnetic acceleration weapons are primitive, yet elegant in their simplicity. Sometimes the most basic solutions are the most effective." Lieutenant Wei's console lit up with new data. "Captain, I'm detecting quantum communication bursts between the Meridian ships. They're sharing tactical analyses of our weapons' capabilities." "Let them look," Donovan said quietly. "They'll only see what we want them to see." He turned back to the two alien representatives. "While we appreciate the interest in our defensive capabilities, Earth's space is not open for exploitation by anyone." The Meridian ambassador's form pulsed with new patterns. "You would stand against both our civilizations. Bold for a species that has barely achieved interplanetary travel." "We've already demonstrated what our primitive technology can do to Caldraxian shields," Donovan replied. "Would you like to see how it performs against bioorganic hulls?" Dr. Russell's voice came through his neural link. "Captain, I've analyzed their hull composition. The molecular structure would actually be more vulnerable to our weapons than the Caldraxian ships. A relativistic impact would shatter their crystalline matrix completely." The Meridian ambassador's form rippled again, patterns suggesting it had reached similar conclusions. "Perhaps. We have all approached this situation incorrectly. Tell me, Captain Donovan, have you heard of the Galactic Concordat?" Zexkar's scales flushed with surprise. "The Concordat, they're not ready for." "A neutral forum," the ambassador continued, "where spacefaring civilizations can meet as equals, regardless of their technological development level. Some members still use antimatter drives, while others have mastered dimensional folding. All perspectives are valued." Donovan shared a look with his command staff. This was an unexpected development, but one that could change everything. "And you're suggesting Earth should have a place in this Concordat?" "Your species has proven itself capable of innovative solutions to complex problems. The Concordat values such creativity." The ambassador's form shifted to display a star map of known civilizations. "Additionally, your position on the rim of known space could be strategically valuable. As a buffer between your territories," Donovan concluded, "preventing direct conflict between your empires." "A crude but accurate assessment," Zexkar admitted, "though it would require the Empire to formally recognize Earth's sovereignty." And both your civilizations would have to abandon any plans for resource extraction or colonization, Donovan added firmly. The negotiations continued for hours, with General Richardson and Earth's leadership joining via secure quantum channels. In the end, a framework for agreement emerged. Earth would join the Galactic Concordat as an independent power, its territorial integrity guaranteed by both the Caldraxian Empire and Meridian Confederation. In return, humanity would share its innovations in kinetic weapons technology under strict controls, while gaining access to advanced alien science in other areas. It was an arrangement that would transform human civilization while maintaining its independence. 1 month later, Captain Donovan stood in the observation deck of the Hyperion, watching Earth's first official delegation depart for the Concordat's central meeting world. Beside him, Dr. Russell studied data from their new alien allies. "It's fascinating," she said. "Each civilization we've encountered became so focused on their chosen path of technological development that they forgot to look back at the basics. The Caldraxians with their energy weapons, the Meridians with their biotechnology. While humanity kept experimenting with everything we could get our hands on," Donovan finished, "out of necessity rather than choice. Maybe that's our real strength," Russell suggested. "Not just our railguns or stealth systems, but our ability to see value in all approaches, to combine the old with the new." On the tactical display, Morrison tracked dozens of ships from various civilizations now visiting Earth. Some were crystalline like the Caldraxians, others organic like the Meridians. There were vessels that seemed to bend space around them, and others that utilized technologies humans couldn't even comprehend yet. "The galaxy's a lot bigger than we imagined," Donovan mused, "and a lot more complicated." "But we've earned our place in it," Morrison added. "Not bad for a primitive species." "No," Donovan smiled, watching another ship emerge from hyperspace, this one carrying technological advisors to help upgrade Earth's defensive capabilities. "Not bad at all." In the depths of space, the Hyperion's railgun remained charged and ready, a reminder that humanity's primitive ingenuity had changed the balance of power in their corner of the galaxy. They had proved that true advancement wasn't about abandoning the old ways for the new, but about finding the perfect combination of both. The age of human isolation was over. A new era was beginning, one where humanity would take its place among the stars not as a primitive species to be conquered, but as equals who had earned their position through innovation, determination, and the willingness to never stop learning. Earth's primitive technology had shattered more than just Caldraxian ships. It had shattered assumptions about what made a civilization advanced, and in doing so had opened up possibilities that would reshape the galaxy itself.